I'm going to do a quick video showing some of the skills for GeoUnit for a practice. Just going through each of these problems and kind of talking through example ways to think about and approach each of them. So for the first one, when it says simple proportions, this is where we're looking to solve for x, and a lot of times what we would do in these cases is cross multiply. I want to demonstrate using the website Do2Math and how we can input those things and then have that help us break down the process of solving the equation. So it says 3 over 5 equals 9 over x. So if I click in Do2Math, type in x equals, I'm going to type 3/5. That would have been the same as 3 divided by 5. I'll use my arrow to go over and write an equal sign, and 9 divided by x. Now that I have this, cross multiplying is when you take the denominators and multiply them up into the numerators. You're allowed to do this when it's a fraction equals a fraction. So 5 times 9 and 3 times x gives us 3x equals 45. And then to solve an equation, we want to get the variable solo. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So if I put this underneath it right there, and then that's just to show that it's being divided by 3. But if I had hovered it over the top of it, hovered this 3 over the 45, it would have actually divided and made it x equals 15. And that's kind of our process there. So x equals 15. Submit our answer. Yes. And that's correct. Very similar problem that you can solve in the same kind of way. Let's take a look at solving linear proportions. This means that we're going to have slightly more complex equations in here, but we can still use Do2Math as a support tool or our own pencil and paper or whiteboard practice. So we are going to have a fraction, but we need to put it in parentheses because it's got multiple pieces to it. So x plus 9, x plus 9, and then we'll take that parentheses and divide it, and we'll have a 2 on the bottom. Use my arrow key to go over and type in an equal sign, and then we'll have x plus 2 over 9. So again, I use parentheses to group that term x plus 2, and then I will be dividing that by 9. Again, we can do the cross multiplying, so I'll take the 9 and multiply it over here, and I'll take the 2 and I'll multiply it over here. And then to multiply each of those things into the groups, it'll be 9 times both x and 9. That'll give me 9x plus 81. Similarly, on the other side, I'll have 2x plus 4. The goal is to get that x by itself, so I'm going to group the x's by subtracting 2x to both sides, and then I'll group the constants by subtracting 81 to both sides. Gives me 7x equals negative 77, and now I just want to divide 7 into the negative 77, which gives me negative 11. So for this answer, I would write negative 11. So very similar process, except now you have a group that you're multiplying, which means you're going to have some distributing. Let's look at these similar figures and proportions that go with them. The difference right now is that we have a shape, but we need to set up an equation that goes with each of these shapes. So I notice that I have a 23 and a 9, and it's asking me to find JH, so this side right here. And that side correlates with this side GE, and the 9 correlates with this side 44. So I can make a fraction. I can make a fraction 9 over 44 and 23 over, let's call this x instead of JH. So I'll say 9 divided by 44 equals, and on the other side, I put the 9 on top, so I need to put the 23 on top to match. And it'll be 23 over x. Excellent. Then once I have that, it's just like solving some of the other equations. You're going to multiply both sides and then divide. And in this case, we get x equals 112.444. And round your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. So 112.444 would just be 112.4. 112.4. Let's try that. And that was correct because it had that same answer that we were getting. But that means it was approximately 112.4. Let's see a next level up. This one is now showing us how the shapes correlate to each other. What I notice is that the shapes are kind of facing different directions. So it's showing me that this 36 side is going to flip over and correlate to the MK side. So what's harder about this? They're just in different orientations. They don't match the same way that they're facing. But I can match 17 with 58 and 36 with MK. So that would be 17 with 58. So 17 over 58 is going to equal 36 divided by our unknown side. Again, we'll just cross multiply. It's nice that a calculator like Duda helps us so we don't have to worry about calculating double-digit multiplication. Then we'll finish by dividing by 17. It gives us 122.8 if we round off. So 122.8. And confirmed. There we go. And it did the same thing we did, cross multiply, divide by 17, and then round it off. And they were doing small to big, so they did 17 to 58, 36 to x. They actually set it up the same way that we did. Last one in this first set. It does have the pieces here, and it says triangle DEF is similar to triangle GHI. So DEF, GHI. And in looking at that, I still need to match up the pieces together. So 17 is going to match with 54 because DF goes with GI. And I'm using that correlating piece where it's the first and third letter that makes those go together. So that would be 17 over 54, and we'll have 24 over x. So I'll do 17 divided by 54. And then that gives me 24 over x equals 24, over x. Let's edit that. 24. And just like we've been doing, we're doing this cross multiplying and then dividing. And we get x is 76.2. 76.2. We go. And again, it's showing us where the pieces correlate. It didn't have an animation for us. Instead, we had to look at the order of the numbers here. DEF 1, 2, 3 and GHI 1, 2, 3. Awesome. So that's how you can look at these 4A practice problems. Good luck on working your way through them.